There we go, guys. Morning and welcome if you are joining us for the weekly recap show on Battlefield Clan Wars. Once again, a nice and early Saturday morning. It's obviously a little bit rainy here where I am, so I almost stayed in bed. But then I remembered that it's the recap show and I got all energized and jumped up and all excited. so with me, I've got a couple of people this morning. As always, I've got the Cowboy Scully Rebels. Scully, what's up?
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's definitely a bit early this side, yeah. We've got a lot of overcast and a bit of rain that we got last night here down at the south coast. But yeah, welcome to everybody.
Lekker man, lekker. Slash?
Also good morning and welcome.
Good man, good. Then we've got Riplets with us as well. Rip, what's up, buddy?
Morning, how you doing?
Yeah, it's all good, And then we've got our special guests this morning. Two of the ladies from GSG. We've got Little Green Monster. Monster, what's up?
Good morning, everyone.
All good. This morning I can't actually say Monster, can I? I've got to say Little Green Monster the whole time because we've got two monsters in the chat this morning.
Monster teams here.
All good, and then we've got Spooky as well. Spooky, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thanks. Morning,
good,
everybody.
Good. Listen, Spooky, quick question on your name there. Is it Spooky or is it Spooky Ooh, or is it Spooky with eyes?
It is Spooky with eyes. I was dubbed Spooky Ooh by King Sparrow, and it's kind of stuck, but it is definitely just Spooky, and it's quite a alerted face. But,
that's excellent.
It is now Spooky Ooh.
I was wondering about that the other night because I saw you in a pub game, and I wondered if if somebody spots an enemy that's close to you, do they go ooh spooky or do they go spooky ooh?
Probably both.
So that was interesting. Right, guys, so a very interesting week on the battlefield. There's been some things happening, some ups and downs, and some interesting stuff around games and gameplay. We've had some really good games this week. We've had some instances where there were some issues with the PSNs and the guys couldn't connect. And those games will be rescheduled for next week, and we'll talk about that as we go through. But I think the one thing that stood out this week was obviously we had teams drop off this week, which we spoke about earlier in the week on the stream as well, myself and Scully, when we were looking at the VTRM versus UB game, and there's some. There's some people that have opinions about it and this and that and whatever. So I wanted to just, sort of touch on that very quickly this morning. Look, guys, obviously, so teams will drop off, right? That's the way a league goes. Some teams stick it out until the end. Some teams, have difficulty in fielding the numbers. Other teams, decide that they just can't continue for whatever reason. I'm actually quite pleased with the amount of teams in the league at the moment. So in total, across the entire league, and this is pretty much 9 weeks of play, we've had only 3 teams drop off. The first was, of course, Wolf, and it was very early in the season. So they dropped off around, I think around week 3. They dropped off initially. And then, of course, this week we had S187 drop off, which is a pity because it's very close to, sort of towards the end of the league. But of course, they dropped out of Division 3. And then, unfortunately, EMC also let us know that they are struggling to field the correct number of players, and that they will also be withdrawing. Now, to be completely honest, I mean, the EMC decision I respect quite heavily, because I would rather have people say, look, we can't field the number of players and then withdraw, than not show up, right? I mean, sort of not showing up to a game or, organizing a game and then not playing it is not only disrespectful to the people that you're playing against. I mean, sometimes there's a stream as well, and then you have guys sitting on a stream looking at a blank screen for sort of half an hour, right, waiting for a game to start. So it's unfortunate, but I respect the EMC's decision, so they will of course withdraw this week as well. So I don't know if you guys have any opinions about, about teams withdrawing and that sort of thing. I think the only other thing that I want to mention is that obviously, we are in the busy registration or in the registration process for season 2, and we've actually had about 6 new teams come on. So I guess from that perspective, having 3 teams sort of drop out close to the end of the league, but knowing that for season 2 there's 6 new teams, so far, I think that's pretty exciting for me. That's the first thing. The other thing that's quite exciting for me as well is that obviously there are division teams that are all entering T5 teams as well. So when I say 6 new teams, these are 6 brand new teams. There's obviously a lot more teams that are joining the T5 and the T12. So, we're gearing up for a hectic season 2, Scully.
Yeah, I think season 2 is going to be jam-packed with a lot of excitement. We've changed the rules a little bit. In season 1, Division 4, which will now become T5, were basically formed for guys who had a spillover of players, which were usually benched. So we wanted to give them the opportunity to play as well, especially for the larger clans. And then on the other side, you have clans that did not make the criteria to participate in the Premier League, which could only enter or field maybe between 5 and 8 players. And those are the guys who ended up in Division 4. So what we're going to do now is in season 2, we will allow the guys, if you participate in the Premier League, you will be allowed to enter up to 2 teams in the T5. If you do not participate in the Premier League, you will only be able to enter 1 team into the T5 series. And then obviously, the smaller teams will then automatically only just be able to play the T5. But the reason for that is, and on top of that is, you have to, if you play on the Premier League and you enter 2 teams in the T5, you'll be able to use any of your players within your clan in the T5. So, as an example, Mad, for instance, they've got, let's say, 30 or 40 people playing. So they can have 1 team or 2 teams within in the Premier League, or they can have 1 team and 2 teams, for instance, in the T5 series. I know Raw indicated to me that they're going to enter a second team, which will be called Raw 2 within the Premier League. So they're going to have 2 teams within the Premier League, and then maybe 1 team in the T5. So that's permitted. And then what's going to happen is that if you enter the team into the Premier League, those people will be locked to that specific roster. But if you have that second or third or fourth team within the T5, you will be able to use your players from that's participating in the Premier League in the T5 as well. But you have to, I know it's a nice thing to go and enter all these teams, but you just gonna have to remember that your games are gonna run parallel. The T5 and the Premier League is going to run parallel. So where currently you only have 1 official match during the week, you might have up to 2 or 3, depending on how many teams you enter into the T5. Now,
yeah. so Scully, just correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm on the wrong path here, but that was also what sparked the decision about being able to share players, right? So that if you end up with a situation where there's a person that has to play in the T12 because he's locked to, or in the Premier League because he's locked to that roster, that's why the decision was made to open call it share players for the T5, to make sure that there is some room for maneuverability and the guys will be available.
Exactly, and that's not share players between different clans though.
Of course.
So we just want to make that clear. You can use any of your players that's within the T5. The T5. Any of your players within the Premier League, you will be able to use within T5. So T5 will not have a fixed roster. But obviously, we will look at the roster of all the players that you've entered into your main team or the Premier League, and those players will be allowed to play. You'll be able to field them in T5. But if you do not, if let's say your clan has got 24 players, and you don't want to participate in the Premier League, you will only be allowed to enter one team into the T5.
Yeah.
But if you have one team into in the Premier League, you'll be able to field up to 2 teams within T5.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's in a nutshell how we're gonna make that work.
Slash?
If I can just throw out a question here to Scully as well, that you debated. But in T5, when you do have 2 teams, will you be able to split or use same players from if you've got a Raw 1, Raw 2 in your T5? Is that allowed? Because I think that question came up a lot during the week as well.
Yeah, I think we're still going to discuss that one. I'm not 100% sure if we'll discuss that with Bokies, because originally we thought, when we thought of this idea, originally we thought that, okay, so if the guys have 12 or more players and they want to participate in T5 as well, because remember, Incursions is coming up, and we don't want to block anybody from playing Incursions if and when it drops. So if it drops within the half of the league, we'll be able to bring that in and say, okay, boom, we can play. We just carry on playing, even if it is on the new game mode. So that's the reason that we said that we're not going to lock the players. But we didn't discuss it as far to say that if you have 2 T5s, excuse me, if you have 2 T5s, if you'll be able to play the same players. But I don't think that it's going to work that way, because it'll be stupid if you have the one player plays, let's say he plays in the Premier League, then he plays on a Thursday or a Wednesday, he's going to play the one T5 game for the first team, and then the second team is going to play T5 again on the Thursday. So I think when it comes to that, we might have a little ring fence thing, with a certain amount of players that's only allowed to play in the one team and then on the other team. But if you have one team, only enter one team into the T5, you'll be able to use any of your players. So, yeah, logistically, we're going to have to discuss that with Bokies just to get clarification on how we're going to manage it if a clan decides to enter one team into T5, up into the Premier League, and then have 2 teams into T5.
Yeah.
I think what the clans are going to do anyway is they're going to field their best players, obviously, for the one team, and maybe the new guys into the other team. I don't know, but we'll get clarification on that one, Slash.
Then,
Perfect.
from our side, we've got a question here that seems to be circling quite a bit. When the T5 starts, it will be domination, correct? And then when and if Incursions drops, say, halfway through, the players will be allowed to select either Dom or Incursions. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's why I said we don't have an official date for Incursions when it's going to drop, but we're going to carry on with our division, with our Season 2. So if Incursions drop within the middle of the league, we can add that as a choice to the T5 on top of the domination, and the clans will be able to select if they want to play, the new Incursions game, moving forward to finish up the league.
Yeah. Look, obviously, I think the other important thing to mention around when Incursions drop, because I know the question has come up, quite a few times this week as well, is when Incursions drop. At the moment, we don't know whether that game mode would be 100% from the start, right? I mean, if we, do our update one random Thursday night, we put it on and Incursions is completely broken, then of course we will carry on as is. But if the game mode is, sort of immediately competitive ready, which I think it should be, because I mean that's what the whole game mode is aimed towards, then of course it'll be simply like something like map selection, right? So instead of the team captains will have a choice. They will say, well, look, we are going to play Incursions tonight, and or we will play domination, or whatever may be the case. Obviously, once the game mode is out, there will be a set of rules attached to Incursions, the same as any other game mode that will be available to the guys. But I guess that's sort of the best answer that we have at the moment, considering that we don't know when it's going to drop, right?
Correct. Yeah, you're 100% correct there.
You don't think, sorry to interrupt, you don't think maybe when Incursions drops, like if it drops, that you maybe give it a week period, maybe a week or 2 weeks, just to let teams actually play and learn and figure out how the game mode works, rather than, you know, as it drops and then the next week say, right, you guys can pick this game mode. Because I think you're going to see a lot of teams not understanding fully how the Incursion gameplay runs, and then maybe throwing away the name a little bit because they don't actually know how.
No, we're competitors. Yeah, we take it seriously.
Yeah, that's gonna be the fun part.
Yeah, I think that's when it comes down to the choice. You know, it'll. I think as soon as Incursions drop, a lot of guys are going to play it, you know, in the public arena and with friendlies and so on to test it out and test the waters. But from our side, we'll make it available as a choice. So if the captains feel that they're not ready to add it in for this, maybe the next week or the first week, they rather start, you know, picking it the second or the third week, then that's fine. But we would like to be, you know, battle ready, to call it that, when it comes to Incursions.
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go. So talking about season 2 and teams and T5 teams entering and, you know, stuff like that. The girls are here this morning, and here for 2 reasons. One is we were going to talk a little bit about some of the wonderful streaming that the Gunslinger girls have done for us over season 1. But I also want to touch on, and maybe now's a good time to touch on that, is that you guys will actually be entering a T5 team as well into season 2, correct?
Yes, we're doing that.
And you don't sound sure.
Couple of issues.
We've got our people. We have our core team.
Yeah.
They have registered.
We've had a game already as practice, and that went really well.
Okay. And tell me, how do you, Lisa? How do you guys? I mean, I mean, I know it's slightly different for you guys, because you actually play for your individual team still, and then of course we made this concession to say, look, this is a unique situation. I mean, obviously there's I don't want to say pressure, but there's a little bit, you know, more pressure, because you guys pretty much have to practice for your own teams, and then also get some practice in together as a girls team. And then I'm sure there's, you know, each sort of area has their own little WhatsApp groups and their own little communication lines. So it's pretty much almost double for you that it would normally be, right?
Definitely. Especially the WhatsApp.
Much. We have to try. Yeah, we have to try organize, like, because we've got people from Red, from
MRU, we've got from Raw.
MRU, yeah. So trying to get a game.
Pretty much all the ladies have their own. Yeah. It's been interesting, I think. Sorry, I'm speaking over Lisa a little bit, but it has been interesting and fun. But we've really looked at like who we have, because I think what's nice with the ladies is individually we all, you know, stand our own on the battlefield. And we are all so used to playing with our teams that we actually having to learn how to trust one another and, you know, learn our gameplays and how we play together, because it's such a different dynamic coming from your team where you've suited to a role and you've been playing them. You know, for example, if you were playing with Red or whatever, you have a role, whereas now in the ladies your role is probably completely different, or, you know, on the same guideline, but you have to learn how to trust the person playing next to you now who you don't play with as often.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting, but yeah, like Lisa said, we have had a few training sessions and like practice sessions, and they've been going well. We're quite proud of our team that we've selected. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Excellent.
Yeah, can I throw out a question here, Jaco?
Sure, go.
Ladies. Yeah, so just obviously it speaks for itself. It's going to be difficult, all people from different teams, to get used to each other. So do you disclose some secrets from the other teams so you guys can play better? Or shouldn't I ask that? Is it a bit too on the spot?
We disclose how you should teabag your own player.
Okay, awesome.
But I also understand that you ladies don't actually do the teabag thing, right? You do the little jump thing, isn't that correct?
Yeah, we do the jump dance. Yeah, we do the jumpy dance.
Okay.
Makes sense now.
Yeah,
When you're getting jumped on and it looks like that character's having a really good time, guess what? We are.
I've actually experienced the little jumpy thing a week or so
Same
ago. All right, so that's excellent. All right, guys. So I mean, obviously that's exciting, and we'll definitely be watching out for how the girls perform in the T5 series. So just on to another quick subject before we move on. First of all, I obviously want to say thank you for the streaming work that the girls have been doing. I see the streaming's going quite well. You're getting some nice views, some good comments, and obviously this is something that you guys want exposure on as well. So how are you finding the streaming? I mean, is that something that you will keep doing in season 2? Is it something that you guys are expanding? Is there any plans to do that?
I think it's been going. Thanks. It's been going well. We've been enjoying it. We've tried to sort of keep it to 1 per week for now, just because we're in different clans having matches and practices, so our time is a bit limited on availability.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll continue doing it to season 2. And we'll hopefully get some of the other ladies to join in. They're a bit shy.
Yeah.
A lot of them are wanting to kind of watch us crazies and listen to how we do it before they join us. A lot of them said, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but a lot of the ladies said, yeah, no, it's fine, we'll join if Spooky's there. And then I realized it's because I generally talk in English for everybody.
Yep.
So that's kind of the way we're going with it. But it's been really good fun, and I think a different dynamic altogether. I mean, it's not serious, but at the same time we do know what's happening in the game, and we can talk to a certain degree strats and how people are playing, because we've got some good experience in the game.
Yeah.
I, for one, half the time stuff up people's names or just give them new ones because it's easier. But
you and Scully would stream great together.
I was about to say, first Scully and Zach. They will make a perfect stream.
Yeah. But Lisa's been doing an excellent job on her side from the, her perspective of actually doing the mainstream. I can't do the mainstream. For one, I'd probably make people throw up with the amount I move that camera around. And also my net is just not strong enough to give everybody really good quality streams. So we want to do it properly.
Yeah. So just on that note, it is quite funny, and a lot of people don't understand that, right? I mean, sometimes when you're in a stream, there are people that from, you've either been shot by them or they are, some sort of character on the battlefield or whatever. So you know their names, but there's obviously a lot of people that you don't know the names of, or you might know the name but you don't actually have to pronounce it when you're playing by yourself or in a pub game or whatever may be the case, and when you're on a stream you have to start pronouncing these things. So yeah, I mean, we've got first-hand experience of that as well, reinventing players, giving them a second account even though they don't have one, but that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely is. I think the last stream we did, I got kindly asked by Little Green Monster and Queen Sparrow to read out the roster, and I felt that was very unfair. And, just everybody wants to have a laugh at Spooky's experience, but I did it. But shame. I feel sorry for some of those people. You really got to start looking at your gamer tags, guys. Just pick something simple, please.
yeah, like it's outside.
Excellent. So last question, Little Green Monster. That's a hard name to say when things get exciting. So what do the guys? So I mean, what do the girls handle you as? I mean, surely they don't keep saying Little Green Monster, because by the time they've said that, you've blown up, right?
Most people just call me Monster.
Okay.
No. You can't take that from me.
or you'll get this random like green, and then it's like, yeah, it's all we'll just use Lisa. Shame we actually drop her tag. Feel bad, but yeah, that does tend to happen.
I can imagine. You know, I played with a guy one day, a good friend of mine, and his gamer tag is Southwest Dakota. So there's just no way that you can say that in the amount of. I mean, I can reload twice while I say his name. So so he also got chopped down to S. Anyway, right, guys, let's move on. I am watching the time for us, and the one thing that I want to talk about is an announcement that you would have seen this week on the website, and obviously we'll talk a little bit more about it when we come to the tables. But if you look at your screen now, you will see that there's a bunch of medals and cups and things on the screen there. And from my side, thank you again to Scaly Rebel, who really did some wonderful design work in these medals and achievements that we are going to be giving out for season 1 for next week. I'm sure a lot of people did join us for the first award show, talking about AOV and being the champions for season 1 for Division 1, and you'll see there the cup that they have there, the Active Valor Cup on the total left hand side. But just running through those medals, you will see that there is obviously the season 1 Division 2 medal, the Division 4 medal, which is the T5 one, the Division 3 medal. Then we have the Untamed one there, and Scully, you designed this purposefully with some graphics from Battlefield 4, right?
Yeah, that was just a thought to bring back some memories on the previous Battlefield titles that most of us have participated in, especially the older clans like AOV that's been around for a while. Yeah. And I thought that it would bring a nice touch to bring back some of the old titles into the new system as well, and hence the thought to add the general medal for that one, which on the Untamed, which means that you've been obviously undefeated within a specific season.
Correct, and of course this season, I think. Sorry, apologies, guys. I think there's a couple of teams that will actually get the Untamed award, and we'll go through them as we go along the tables later. But the Untamed award, of course, being the medal for being undefeated within a particular season, and then the medal that everyone will get that participated in season 1 and obviously finished season 1. So unfortunately, if you withdrew, then of course you won't be eligible for this reward. But if you've seen it through to the end, and that is exactly what the medal says, is to the end, then you will of course get this award as well. Then we have what we call the Cunning Award, and this is actually a community voted award. So just on that, guys, you will see that somewhere within this coming week there will be some extra channels suddenly on Discord. Some of you, of course, won't be able to access it because it will be a clan leader channel. But we will start asking the clan leaders for Division 2, 3 and 4 this week to start voting for the Cunning Award. And it is actually like I said, a community voted award. So it's voted for a clan by the clans that they played with, and it is for a clan that displays skill in terms of strategy and cunning gameplay, if you want to call it that. For Division 1, the clan that actually won this was Mad, and I think rightly so, because Boki's and his little tank stealing strategies have been promoting that all season. So I think these guys earned that. So that's the one. Then of course we have the Dedicated Award, which is for a team or a clan that has a dedicated stream team. As we spoke this morning about the fact that we appreciate other people streaming the games. I mean, there's just so many games, and we would like to get as much of them to the community as possible. We obviously want to award the teams that make an effort in streaming other clans' games, or putting a team together to to be able to bring some of those games to the community. So the dedicated award is given then to a clan that has a dedicated stream team, and there was a couple of them given out in Division 1 as well, MAD, MRU. I think those are the two clans in Division 1 that it was given out to. This is not a voted award. It is an award simply based on the fact that you have a stream team and you are streaming Clan Wars games to the community. Then another community award is the Candor Award, and this is again a voted award by the clan leaders or by the clans for a clan within every division. And the Candor Award is about a clan that is voted to be most sportsmanlike. So in every division there's always that one clan that are they're just great to play with, right? They've got great sportsmanship. They're easy to organize games with. There's never hiccups with the guys. They're not late. They're respectful to other teams. And this is what the Candor Award is all about. And there will be one team in each division that will also get that. And then I think a sneak peek into Season 2, Scully's also designed for us the Flying Aces medal, which you will see there, which I actually think looks exceptionally nice, to be honest. And that is a sneak peek at what that medal will look like for the Flying Aces. And I think, Scully, correct me if I'm wrong, that actually will go to a single person, right? That'll go to a single pilot?
Correct. Yeah, that specific medal will only be attached to the single player profile. Obviously, the guy who comes out at the top with regards to points, you'll be awarded that medal.
Correct. And guys, if you're not aware of what Flying Aces is, obviously we will have the Premier League, which is the 12v12. Then we'll have the T5 series. But then there's two guys in our community that together with us are putting together something. It's Zeus and Mullies. And we are putting together the Flying Aces, which is around an opportunity for pilots to play. Now, obviously, Flying Aces will not form part of the official league scoring, so it won't have any influence on the tables or the clan scoring or the points or whatever may be the case. But I think it is a great initiative, to also get some extra game time for the pilots, right? And I think all the pilots out there will agree that it's about flying hours. It's how many hours you get to spend in a plane that actually makes you, either better or worse. So I think this is a great initiative, and obviously because we want to recognize that as well, that's the reason why Scully created that very nice looking medal. And then next to that we have a little open space, a little grey one, and that is just to say, guys, that this is not all the medals. We are always trying to think about new things and doing new stuff and that sort of thing. So, if there are some new medals that come along, we will start adding them to this list.
There's actually already one. Sorry, Yaku, there's actually already one for that space. It's going to go to a specific individual, which we will announce next week on the closing of the Clan Wars, if Riplets managed to do what we asked him to do with Division 4 for the guys to play.
Sorry, you mean the thing you asked me this morning to do?
Yes, exactly. To see if we can get
So far, so good.
to see if we can get Division 4 guys to play 2 games next week. That will enable us to finish off Season 1 next week. Saturday with this recap show. But to come back to the medal, that's going to be awarded to one individual who has stand out exceptionally well over the past year and a half with Battlefield, or within the Battlefield franchise. But I'll reveal a bit more next week, not now.
Excellent. Guys, so from the people that are here this morning with us, I feel like I'm talking way too much. Let's have some opinions on these awards. Is it something that you guys think is enticing, looks nice? I mean, I think it's obviously, my opinion is that it looks great, but let's have some opinions. What do you guys think?
There is one medal missing, I'll say that. The tank steal. There should be a medal for the guy who steals the most tanks.
Difficult to track, though.
Difficult to track, but we've got a few guys that I think we've caught on streams, and guys have actually brought up in the Discord chats as well.
Yeah.
That they said that because some games weren't streamed, I want to say that, and then the players come out and say, no, this player just stole the tank out of nowhere. So if we could get something like that for season 2, and then we can try track that as much as we could.
Yep. Well, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Slash?
Yeah, I think it's a great initiative, and if you stick to the clan wars, this medal is going to stay next to your name or next to your team's name, so it will be there, for the next seasons to come. So it's bragging rights at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And again, this as you said, fantastic work by Skelly building these kind of things up. They look awesome.
Great, ladies.
I think they're quite cool. I agree with the Grand Theft Auto one. Yeah, the tank stealing is quite interesting. But in general, I think they. It's a great initiative in the sense that it makes you feel like you've done something, you've achieved something. I mean, nobody. They can say they've entered and they're just going to have fun, but there's nothing better than getting recognition. Even if you say you don't want it, everybody does to a certain degree. So I think it's good.
Yeah, agreed. Right. So then, guys, there's one more topic that I would like to cover before we move on to the tables this morning. And on your screen now, if you're looking at it, you will see that there's a very interesting yellow circle there. And that is the yellow card. Now, this is a little bit of insight on what we are going to be doing for season 2. We're not going to give away too much as yet because we are still bedding down some of the stuff. But we are bringing in a yellow red card system for season 2. And it's not to add more rules or to be more strict or whatever may be the case. But obviously, as we went through season 1, we also learned a couple of things. As the clans get better and up their game, so do we in terms of wanting to up our game to bring you guys a better, call it a better league and a more structured league and something that can be more fair. So on the screen there, you'll see that I've given you examples of what a yellow card looks like, and you can see there I've given Scully a yellow card for being late. Then I gave him another one for being late again, and then I gave him one for conduct. And basically the yellow card system, guys, is that within season 1, something that we, for example, saw is that you will have teams that schedule a game for 8:30, and then the one team is there and they hang around and they wait and they wait and they wait, and half an hour later the other team shows up to sort of play the game. And as I mentioned earlier, things like that is not only disrespectful to the teams that you play against, but sometimes we have people streaming that game and you have spectators sitting around for half an hour on a live stream waiting for a game to start. So to try and minimize that sort of situation and also try and streamline it a little bit, we are bringing in something like, for example, the yellow card. Now the yellow card will be for a lot of things, but one of the things, for example, will be to be able to start on time. And it's just a little bit, call it motivation if you want, so that the guys understand, that there are some rules around playing league. These are not pub games. These are structured games in a structured league. And the idea is then that a yellow card is issued for an infringement like that. And 3 yellow cards will actually equal a red card. And a red card will actually influence your points on your league table. So at this point, again, I'm not going to give away too much because some of these things we still have to bed down final before season 2 starts, and we will communicate exactly how the system will work. For example, the amount of points that you will lose on getting a red card, what yellow cards can be given for, what they can't be given for. But we wanted to give you guys a little bit of visibility on some of the work going on in the background. Of course, those little gray blocks that you see in the top left hand side of your screen, they will look familiar because they will look a lot like Discord. And at the moment, the system is actually built on the Discord platform. You would have seen the launch of our own bot this week that has passed, and one of the functionalities within that bot is actually this card system, because the card system will track what you can, the amount of cards that you get, how they are issued. It will keep a little bit of a history and that sort of stuff. So in a nutshell, Scully, I know that you want to add something here.
Yeah. Look, the yellow card system is not designed to. Currently, we don't have anything in place for certain, let's call it sportsmanship behavior. We would like to encourage and promote good sportsmanship within the league, and that goes for being on time, logging your fixtures on time, because we have to do a show like this on a Saturday to recap during the week what's happened. And if we don't have fixtures and if we don't have the correct scores, we basically don't have a show. So that'll be to guide the process or the flow of the whole Clan Wars series. And this is going to include stuff like the kind of content that's being posted on Facebook. We don't promote any illegal devices and stuff like that. So that's where we're going to implement, or use the yellow card, red card system. Obviously, if you break a rule, if you break a rule within the game, let's say you've chosen the wrong map, or you've capped the wrong flag, or you've used dynamite on MCOMs or whatever, anything that is rule related within the game itself will still be regulated by that specific rule and the penalty for that breaking that rule. But you will not receive a yellow card for that. I mean, because you will already, if you like in Conquest, if you've kept the wrong flag, you have forfeited that map, and the opposite team gets the point. So there, the yellow card system or the red card system is not going to, work for that. This is basically within the community thing to try and guide and promote good sportsmanship. So we do have some clans that adhere to the rules, and they don't make hammock, and they don't go and post videos and self-help videos of using these illegal devices and stuff like that. So, but then on the flip side, you do have clans that, in a nutshell, don't give a shit, and we have to try and guide and accommodate everybody in the same direction to keep it fair within the Battlefield Clan Wars leagues, and hence the reason that we are bringing in this yellow card system. So basically the first two cards will be a warning of some sort, and then on the third card, when you receive the red one, then we're going to start deducting some points. Because at the end of the day, what we're going to do is we're going to have a Battlefield Masters list where we will accumulate all the points that you've done or that you've got for Division 1, for the Season 1, Season 2, and if there's going to be a Season 3 within Battlefield 1, it'll be Season 3 as well. So all of that will be an accumulator, a list with all your points accumulated on this Masters list. And obviously, if you go and you have infringements like this, it's going to affect your standing at the end of the day to see who has mastered Battlefield 1.
Yep.
I think something to say on that maybe as well is, look, it's probably self-explanatory, but the one thing that I immediately thought of with this system is it is a great system, and like you say, you're trying to incorporate having people have good sportsmanship and just generally stop being such sensitive people.
I'll say
salty. I wasn't using it, but that works.
This is a PG show.
Yeah, we had to rethink those words very quickly.
Mine started with a D.
And with a CK or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But really, I think that the idea with this is don't go like now be salty and be like, you deserve a yellow card. Come now, like don't turn into like, and this is no disrespect, but like these gluten-free vegans and all these kind of where you're just so sensitive and all of the world. Can you just please like pull yourself towards yourself and like be reasonable, like just try to be the good guy and don't be so sensitive about this. Like if you get a yellow card, even the best players get yellow cards for bad attitude every now and again. So that's all I have to say is don't go calling out people now, just to get a rise out of them or whatever. That's what the roast channel's for. Go do that there.
The other thing as well is that again, guys. I mean, we're not giving you too much detail this morning because we are still bedding down exactly what we want to do with this. But so far what we have, the yellow card. I mean, this is not something that can be given on I feel that you did the wrong thing, right? The rules here are very clear cut with the yellow and red card system. For example. Were you more than 15 minutes late in starting your game, and whose fault was it? It was that team's fault. They get a yellow card. I mean, this is not a feeling based thing. It is for, do you show good sportsmanship, yes or no? It's actually that simple. And the reality is that I think 99%, actually maybe not 99%, maybe 95% of the community will actually never even see a yellow card, right? I mean, that is just most of the guys that play in the league at the moment follow the rules, they load their fixtures, they respect each other as teams, they show up when they should, there is really good sportsmanship at the moment, I think, all around. But of course, as Scully said in the beginning, at the moment we don't have a system, and we realized that we didn't have a system for that in season 1, and we are rectifying it now for season 2 with the system. So I actually think it will work quite well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've had so many situations where people accuse other players or clans of cheating and stuff like that. So if you are unable to prove, if you're unable to prove that a player is with actual facts, and you haven't followed the proper procedure of accusing someone, for instance, of cheating, you will definitely receive a yellow card. And that yellow card, if that player is linked to a specific clan, that clan will receive the yellow card, not the player. It's the clan.
Correct. So I think that's quite important that you mention that as well, Scully, is that the card system will not be linked to a player. Will be linked to the clan of that player.
Yes, correct. So obviously we're going to have grievance procedures are being put in place by Bokies, Nico from MAD, who is our league master. So what's going to happen is there's a council for that. So if you suspect a player or someone who's cheating, you're going to have to report it to the council, and then the council will decide or test the validity of that specific accusation. And from there, if they feel that there's enough evidence and it bears weight, it'll be referred to the clan leaders group, who will then ultimately vote on a specific outcome or decision on that specific allegation. But if you as an individual go and spectate someone, and you just go on Facebook and you post it wherever, that for us is bad sportsmanship, because you didn't follow, the correct procedure. At the end of the day, acts like that just causes more banter, which causes more frustration within the community, and yes, trucks and truckloads of salt. So at the end of the day, we don't want that. Sorry, Disha, you were saying?
No, I was going to say it is just salt on a whole other level. It's unnecessary.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So we in the framework of good sportsmanship, we feel that is unfair, just to accuse someone randomly of any accusations and that kind of thing. So hence we've got a system or procedure that has to be followed when it comes to something like that, because accusing someone of being fraudulent in their gameplay is a serious thing. Hence we've got the system in place. So the procedure will be, you report your suspicions to the let's call it, I don't know what, it's a committee, but the cheat police or whatever, and they will then test the theory to see, if it's valid or not, to move forward and then take steps accordingly. But as an individual, if you go and you just post these things randomly or make random accusations, that's not on. We don't like that, and hence that's definitely going to be a yellow card coming your way, but not only your way, your team's way, because I think that the team captains and the teams and the players within a team need to take responsibility for their own actions.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
So that is in a nutshell. As I said, we will be giving you guys more information as we get closer to the opening of season 2, in terms of some more information around this. But I am watching the time, and I think it is time for us to actually move on and go on to the tables for this week. Again, the tables I'm going to bring up for you in a second, and we are just going to look at that. The tables there. Obviously, season 1, Division 1 has already now closed down, and congratulations there to AOV for being the champions in Division 1. Then moving on to Division 2. Oops, let me just pull that back up. My screen jumped there. Pulling up for Division 2, and a couple of interesting things here. So first thing I want to highlight is, of course, those two teams that we spoke about earlier that withdrew from the tournament now in the last week, and that is EMC and S187. You will see that those adjustments have already been made on the table there. At the moment, we have LOTS and DI at the top, and I think we can officially say that that LOTS will be the division champions for Division 2. If we look at the last games being played next week, I don't think DI has the opportunity there to catch LOTS. So LOTS will be the champions there at the moment on 24 points, still with one game left. Then DI on 21. Interesting, at the moment we've got 4Q and ONIP both on 18. That's on 3 and 4. We've got SNLV on 13, PF on 12, and then MDK on 11, followed by Gig on 6 points. So I think I called it, right? I think in the beginning of the league I said that I think LOTS and DI are the teams for me to watch, although I must tell you that 4Q and ONIP very impressive for me in this division, but definitely LOTS and DI they're at the top.
Yeah, look, I think the pressure is on for LOTS, definitely. I don't want to jinx this whole thing, but yeah, the next game that LOTS is going to play, or would have been, I think it's is it EMC or 187?
EMC,
yeah.
EMC.
EMC, yeah. So for the guys who thought that, if you look at the points, DI on 14, so if LOTS lost their next game, and DI won their next game, DI would have moved into first position, but because they are playing one of the guys who've withdrawn, it means that they're automatically going to receive 13 points, which put them in the lead for Division 2, sorry.
Correct.
DI were supposed to play S187 as well next week, so
yeah, so both those teams just going to receive 3 points extra on top of what they have currently.
Correct, which is of course exactly the reason why DI will not have an opportunity to go on top of LOTS. So we will of course go through the whole awards process next week, and then properly congratulate the guys with their award and so forth. But at the moment it does look like LOTS indeed will end up on top of Division 2. So girls, you are actually in this division as well. I know, Spooky, you generally play for PF. How did you find Division 2?
I haven't played with them for the last 4 games. I did unfortunately leave PF.
Okay.
But the games that I did play, they were quite intense. We went in there with good confidence in that, and I am speaking because I have been keeping in touch with the PF gents. We had a little bit of confusion with regards to like the conquest rules and things like that, so it was just unfortunate in that, but the guys really brought their top game. I think first we expected to do reasonably well coming from the domination side. We did take a little bit of a knock, but I know they're revving up and they getting ready for season 2. So I don't know, I found it fun. There were games where I wanted to throw my controller through the screen, but I think we all get those. But Tim, the guys really, they have given it their all. I think some teams just take it, eh?
Yeah, agreed. Guys, any other comments on Division 2 /
I think Lisa's still in there for DPS, hey Lisa?
DPS is Division 1, right?
Oh yes, sorry. Yeah. Oh, my bad.
Division 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, I think definitely next week the game to watch is going to be 4QM, mate, and ONIP. They are very good teams. So hopefully we can get a stream on, or somebody can get a stream on those two teams to see who ends up in third place.
Correct, correct. And of course, maybe just to mention that at the moment, as things stand, it does look like lots would also be eligible for that Untamed award. Again, for us playing an entire season of the league and not losing a single game, I think is an absolutely great achievement, and I think is something that definitely needs to be recognized. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think players or teams that manage to achieve that is it really shows their skill and dedication to the game. But yeah, congrats to lots so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, moving on to Division 3 then. So I don't know what's up with my screen this morning. It keeps jumping off the table for some other odd reason. There we go. Apologies, guys. So then you would have seen on Facebook, first they've already claimed it. they were so excited, and they should be. I mean, the games that these guys played were absolutely magnificent to watch, and I don't want to take anything away from Raw of this week's game. I mean, again, we called it in the beginning of the season. We said that we think the main matchup will be between First and Raw. It ended up being both absolutely excellent games, or both absolutely excellent teams. It was a very good game to sort of watch this week. But of course, First will be claiming the Division 3 one's first spot as well. And again, with them, they haven't lost any games, so they will of course also be eligible for that Untamed award, which we'll be giving out next week together with some other awards. So congratulations to them at this point, next week being the last week. At the moment, Raw's very firm on that second position, and now I see that WTF is in third place, and who would have thought that? When the league started, nobody really knew these guys, right? Well, I mean, obviously there were people in the community that knew them, but I mean, I was very unfamiliar with the team, but I've had the pleasure of watching several of their games during the league, and they are at the moment on third place with 14 points, just above THC on 13. And then, of course, we've got VTRN sneaking their way up there as well. Of course, they've only played 6 games. Well, both them and Raki have only played 6 games. They were supposed to play this week, and we were actually going to stream that game, and then there were some connection issues. So that game has actually been postponed, I think, until Tuesday next week, and we are going to actually try and still stream that for you guys. So VTRN still has an opportunity there to sneak up on THC, and of course so does Raki. Then we've got CTK on 6 points in the 7th place, and UB with 3 points there, and then of course ITF on the 2 points. And I actually saw a very nice post by ITF this week, which I quite enjoyed. So I know that these ITF guys are busy recruiting, and I reckon that is for preparation of season 2. Any comments on Division 3, guys?
No, just congratulations, honestly. All the players, I think they all stuck it out and played very well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Just to Alistair and his team there from the first platoon. I mean, congratulations on that good performance that you guys have shown. I mean, I've played with these guys a few times in public matches, being in their parties and so on, and it's an absolute pleasure. Good sportsmanship all around within this team. So definitely a well-deserved win there.
Absolutely, great. And of course, next week we will actually have Alistair as one of the guests on the show. I've already confirmed that, so he will be joining us for next week's recap show as well. When we do the award show, right? So we'll have a bit of a chat to him as well. Any other comments, Rips, maybe from your side?
From our side, amazing games. We streamed VTRN, I think, twice versus WTF. THC, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, UB, and both streams that we did, amazing teams to watch. And as Spooky said, these guys don't let down. They keep fighting and fighting, even in pubs. The amount of times I've screamed the first name because of being rocket gunned across the map and all that. And it's amazing guys to play with. A couple of Lacquer Oaks that I've had the chance to talk to, communicate over Discord, PlayStation Network, and the very bunch of Lacquer Oaks.
Excellent.
I don't know if there's females in there, so ladies as well.
Right, guys, moving on to the last division then, and that is Division 4, and at the moment it's a bit of a tight squeeze there at the top, with Royal at 22 points and TRC on 21. Both played 8 games, both won 7, lost 1. So this coming week is going to pretty much cement that first position, I think. And as we alluded to earlier, we did ask Riplets Monster this coming week that the Division 4 guys each play 2 games. We would like to have everybody finish in the same week, and as things stand at the moment, Division 4 has 1 more week than everyone else. So provided we can pull that off and have everybody play their 2 games this coming week, then of course we will finish the entire league for season 1 next week. We've got MRU there on 16, then on the 3rd position, Mads, which is the Mad Social team, on 10, Hussein on 7, and then we've got Save there at the bottom. I do hope that we see all these teams in Division 4 here join the T5 for season 2. Even though there will be a lot of other teams joining and participating, I'd love to see these names carry over for season 2. So yeah, that's where we are with Division 4. Rips, you think you guys will be able to pull it off this week and do those 2 games?
So far I've got confirmation from MRU 2. It's actually requested that because they are a lot fixture for week 10, and they've requested that we play Friday against. Hopefully, yes. I'm just waiting for a response from Bokes, for Mad, Omar DRC, Keifi from Save, and then Drew. I'll chat to this afternoon regarding OSYN. But I'm pretty sure that everybody will actually be available to play both games. If we can just reschedule friendly setup between Division 4 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will keep you guys informed. Hopefully by the end of today I'll actually have a different option, as I would also like to end with the rest of the division so everybody has a week break and start preparing for season 2.
Excellent. Right, guys, if you have joined us this morning, thank you very much. If you are subscribed to the channel, that's excellent. If you're not, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell. On today's video specifically, I would love to see some comments, about the yellow card system, about some of the other stuff that we're talking, so please feel free to leave us a comment. The people in the chat this morning, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to give you an opportunity for your final thoughts around what we talked about today. Scully?
Yeah, it's obviously it's been an absolute pleasure being here today. I'm very pleased with the direction of which clan wars are happening. Getting some good feedback from the community, and we want to thank each and every one of you for giving us that feedback, because it does help with the morale on our side a bit, to keep on soldiering on and try and give you guys the best gaming experience that we can. Then I just want to touch on something for season 2, is that on our weekly recap show we would like to highlight some good players and some clips that you guys send in. So we would like you to start just preparing for that. We'd like to do like a play of the week kind of thing, to spice up the show a little bit and show some gameplay of some of the players that they did during some of these competitions and so on. So look out for that in season 2. And then just for the rest of the guys who's going to play this week, good luck. And yeah, all the best with your last few games coming up. We wish you guys all the best and hope we see you, all of you, in season 2.
Lekker. Slash?
Yeah, short and sweet to all the guys out there for next week. Good luck and all of the best.
Excellent. Riplets?
From our side, yeah, we've actually played TLC on Monday, so that should decide first place. I will be streaming that onto the Royal channel as a first-person point of view. But yeah, it should be a very good match, as TLC warning us that they'll bring their top players. So yeah, can't wait for next week.
Lekker, man. Little Green Monster?
Division 1 has been exciting. I'm looking forward to, well, Season 1 has been exciting. Looking forward to Season 2 entering GSG in. Yeah, it's been exciting and looking forward to it.
Lekker. Spooky ooh ooh.
Yeah, I think it's been great. Like I said, I played, I think, only 3 games of Season 1. Unfortunately, I had to exit just for own personal things. But I have been keeping in touch with the GSG streams, and really, I think it's been great fun watching these players grow, and also watching teams that people didn't expect to do that well. You know, everybody expected certain levels from people, and I think there's some teams out there that have shown genuine growth, which is fantastic. And yeah, like Lisa says, she's leading us down this scary alley towards this tier 5, and we're all nervous but also really excited.
100%. Absolutely agree. Excellent. Guys, that is what we had for you this morning. Again, thank you very much for joining us. If you are subscribed, great. If you're not, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, leave a comment. If you need information on Clan Wars, you can find that on www.bfclanwars.net. Check out the tables, look at the Discord channel. We are doing some communication on there as well. Always hit us up on Facebook. Check out the YouTube. There is so many places to find information. It's actually quite scary, and we hope you guys utilize that for the purposes of getting excited with us about Season 2 and what's going to happen. From our side, that's all. That's what we had for this Saturday morning. I'm Yakusao for Battle Bros. See you on the battlefield.